What's up, you guys? Bad Jack JW coming to you. We're going to be doing a video. Actually, this video is for a viewer to help out a certain viewer, and I figured I'd do it real quick, but hopefully it helps you out too, or you find it interesting, you check it out on the channel. And it is fitting the grips here, and I did a video a while back, and I should update the video, and I gotta order some more from these guys. Buffalo Brothers, they're out of Arizona, and they do the perfect copy of the Duke, John Wayne's old ivory pistol grips that he has in most of his movies. Anyway, go ahead and we'll just safety check these guns by taking out the entire cylinder. How's that? That's a cool thing about these cowboy pistols. All right. Anyway, well, here's the. This is an example of a one piece, and for those of you that know about that, that's when you actually glue the center together with epoxy, and then this would be similar to like a two piece when you have the hole through it. You just put the screw through. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and take these off right here real quick. So let me cut here. Okay, so we got the grips off. You can see here, Buffalo Brothers actually sends you that middle piece, and you basically, how you do that is you pop, if you this sort of the grip, you pop the one side on, and now you want to coat the frame in Vaseline or some kind of grease. I believe actually Buffalo Brothers told me to use Vaseline, and which I believe I did for that operation. You put the panel on, and then the little piece, the little wedge right there, you see it down the center of that, you basically epoxy right in there, and you set it in there, and you kind of sit it back and make sure it doesn't interrupt with your spring for the hammer, and you set it down in there towards the bottom, is what I did. You can see how close it is to the bottom. Set it right down into this slot, and then you just hold it and make sure that presses good, and then when you have that other piece there, make sure it's flush. You might have to do a little bit of sanding to make sure it's flush, so when you put the other panel on, it doesn't sit off, you know, so it's all flush against the frame, so you don't have this wobble, and then it might snap off because of a little space or gap or something. So you want to make sure it's all sanded flush. Actually, you know, the piece you get, I actually ran it on sandpaper on both sides just to make sure it's flat. You know, put that sandpaper on a nice flat surface and make sure you get it done good. So do that, and then you paste it together, put that slot in there, glue it down with epoxy, and then you do the same for the other side, and then I actually wrapped rubber bands around mine for a little while. Depends on what kind of set epoxy you use. I use some pretty quick setting epoxy just to get it, because you don't want this thing to move around too much, and then once you get it, you know, you may need to do some fitting or filing on the epoxy here and there. I think I might have to do that on this one, but anyway, that's how you do the one piece. But the viewer is having trouble or a question with how to fit the grips, and definitely in a concern with the price on these quality grips. They are good quality and they're worth every penny. They're about 75 bucks plus shipping for the set, and you definitely don't want to be taking off grinding on it with a high-speed Dremel or something and then jack it all up. Anyway, what you do is you say this is the grip you get. You don't want to take anything really off of here or here. I didn't learn this right away. I made a lot of mistakes. You put it in there, okay, and then your excess, whatever, you know, you make sure you're where you need to be, and then your excess, you take a pencil or whatever and just scribe it around where it needs to be, and then you just take some sandpaper and you take it down to where that line is, wherever it is, you take it down. And when I get another set of these grips from Buffalo Brothers, I'll do the whole thing on camera for you. But just for now, hopefully this helps you out there, Randy. You scrape it down, you sand it down, and then, now mind you, the edges of the grips are kind of bevel off and taper down, so you're gonna have to go real slow. If it's your first time, definitely, and you don't want to be trying it on a very expensive pair of custom grips, because the Dremels and everything, if you know what you're doing, definitely use it, because it cuts the work by just hours of work. But you can go too far too fast and mess it all up. Now, before I even got into Buffalo Brothers, to give you a little story of mine, I actually was making my own, and that's what you see here. These are cast resin that I made, cast molds of the original grips that came on the Rooster Shooter gun, and because they broke on me, and I wound up getting the molds out of some kind of, I forget what I used for molding. I might have even used clay, to be honest with you, and then slapped some grease in there and made cast resin molds out of it. So this, I actually got the color down pretty close, but not as close as I'd like it, but I'm still messing around with it. I may do a video on that someday. But these are just resin molds that I made, and I drilled and did the whole bit, and I tinkered around with different colors and streaks and things like that, you can see. And then for the little insert, the bushing or the escutcheon or whatever you want to call it, I believe these are like the ones that you buy from Brownells there. They're like little brass pieces. I got tired of spending all that money on those, so I actually just started taking nuts from the hardware store and just running the edges on a Dremel and shaving them down so they're circular, instead of having the hexagon wedges in there, and then started seating them back in there. The holes I seated with a special drill bit for this from Brownells that I got, and I did that on my own. This is another pair that are kind of more crude. There, you can tell I'm just real amateur at this, but this is a pair that actually look pretty good. I had these on there for a long time, but of course once I got into Buffalo Brothers and just realized that, you know what, I mean, but it's still fun to do this on your own. By all means, I don't regret it, but you can see, you know, how it would have looked, and it's not exactly perfect, but I have the big finger grooves, and the color is really a little bit more age to it, I guess you could say, with the patina and everything. Now, the other thing, on the Rooster Shooter, I'm not going to go ahead and take this one off because it's pretty much the same as this. On the Rooster Shooter there, for you, there is a pin, and I believe it's right here, or I don't remember exactly where it is, to be honest with you. Yeah, I think it's somewhere here, you know, up here or something like that. There's a pin, and actually, I know where it is. It's right there. There, I'll give you a better example. It's right there. You see the hole I drilled? The pin's right around here. Okay. Now, it looks like it's welded in there. It's not. You can take a hammer or a non-marring hammer. You don't want to take an iron hammer to your gun and drive it out. It will drive out. And the easiest way to do this with the Buffalo Brothers grips is to do it as a one piece, as the way they intended to. The reason, because if you notice here on my Rooster Shooter, because of the way the finger grooves are, you have to offset the hole too far back. And honestly, that's another, I mean, I like it, it's fun. I left it there because if you actually look at John Wayne's movies, his is a two-piece where he, you know, which is fine, but these are actually, there's no screw in there anymore. They're actually done up like this in the center, because I didn't learn that until after I'd done that. And I wish I would have, but it's all right. And I'll continue to order a few more pairs of these, because you know what, Buffalo Brothers does probably the most fantastic job I've ever seen of replicating the old ivory. Now this one here is I think it's called with the antique streaks or something through it. You can see how there's a lot more different patina going through it. I'm gonna order a couple more pairs of these from them as soon as I get some extra money going together, because you know what, you know, they're kind of a privately owned business and everything, and man, you know, we want to keep them going, and I definitely want a few more of their products just to have as backup, you know, because I will be buying more 6 guns as the budget allows me. All right, anyway, so here's another one I made. This I made out of 2x4 just for fun. This one just, you know, whittled it out of 2x4 and cut it down. You can see how it looks, you know, and I put the finger grooves on there. And again, there's a little nut that I cut down with the Dremel to fit in there that I got from the hardware store, and just painted the wood yellow. And you know, what little character 2x4 has showed up in there a little bit, you know. So here's another one that I made. This one's got some patina on there with the finger grooves. So anyway, here's another wood one. I think oh no, that's not the other side. This is a different, this one goes on that side. Yeah, and then I actually took a torch and burned the little dark spots in it. So it's cool, you know. You guys, if you know, I'll tell the story again on the original grips for my Rooster shooter and what happened and all that in another video. But anyway, I wanted to do this. Hopefully this helps you out there with that. Don't feel bad about asking me all the questions, you know. Just we got to help each other out, and you know, I'm here to help you out. So anyway, that's, you know, just be careful when you fit them, you know. Just place the panel on there and then look and see. Make sure it's on square. You know, you don't want to be doing something like this and then, you know, cut too much off. Now, don't get me wrong, I've made a lot of mistakes, but I made a lot of mistakes on my own product. So this didn't cost me nothing but my time and, you know, a few bucks for the resin. But, you know, when you get a whole jug of resin for one price, you know, this is not too bad. If you make a mistake, it just costs you a lot of time, and like I said, just maybe a few bucks. You just got to cast another one and get the color right again. But put it on there and you'll see where you need to trim it, and you'll see some edges may stick out like that, or some edges may stick out like just a little bit like this. And just keep in mind, as you start to, you know, when you scribe it through with a pencil and you start to take off material, keep in mind you do have to bevel it out, so it needs to come out to a nice rounded edge. Okay, so when you put it on your gun, you don't have nothing funky looking around like on some of my amateur attempts on doing stuff like this. Anyway, I'm Bat Jack JW. I really hope that helped you out. Again, I'm just throwing this video up to help out the viewer. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully check it out. I will be ordering some more stuff from Buffalo Brothers. Again, thank you, Buffalo Brothers, because you make an awesome product. Anyway, signing off for now. Bat Jack JW. Thanks for watching.